Imagine waking up tomorrow, taking a deep breath, and realizing you can't. Not because you're sick, not because the air is polluted, but because there simply isn't enough oxygen. Within minutes, people begin collapsing. Animals panic. Fires refuse to burn. Airplanes struggle to stay in the sky. The entire world begins to suffocate. It sounds like science fiction, but Earth's atmosphere hasn't always been safe to breathe. In fact, our planet has come dangerously close to becoming a place where complex life couldn't survive, and if history had unfolded just a little differently, none of us would be here today. Let's go back. More than 2.5 billion years. Earth looked nothing like it does today. The sky wasn't blue. The oceans were filled with strange microbes. There were no animals, no forests, no insects, no dinosaurs, and definitely no humans. Most shocking of all, there was almost no oxygen. If you somehow traveled back in time, you wouldn't survive more than a few breaths. The air itself would kill you, because for nearly half of Earth's history, oxygen was almost completely absent. Then something incredible happened. Tiny organisms, known as cyanobacteria, learned how to use sunlight to make energy, a process we now call photosynthesis. As they spread, they released oxygen into the atmosphere. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but year after year, million after million years, the amount of oxygen kept increasing. Eventually, Earth experienced the Great Oxygenation Event, one of the biggest transformations in planetary history. Ironically, oxygen was toxic to many of the organisms already living on Earth. So, the very gas that keeps us alive today triggered Earth's first known mass extinction. Life changed forever. Fast forward hundreds of millions of years. Complex life had evolved. Forests covered the land. Animals ruled the oceans. Everything seemed stable, but beneath the surface, something dangerous was happening. In several periods of Earth's history, oxygen levels dropped dramatically. The oceans began losing oxygen. Scientists call these events ocean anoxic events. Entire regions of the sea became nearly impossible to survive in. Fish died. Coral reefs collapsed. Food chains broke apart. Life didn't disappear overnight. It slowly ran out of breath. Here's the terrifying question. What if oxygen had continued to decline? Humans need about 21% oxygen to live comfortably. Lower it, and your body starts struggling. You become tired. Your brain slows down. Breathing becomes harder. Keep lowering it, and eventually, complex animals can't survive. Large forests disappear. Wildfires become rare. Birds struggle. Mammals disappear. The world would become almost unrecognizable. Luckily, Earth never reached that point, but it came closer than most people realize. So why didn't Earth run out of oxygen? Because nature found balance. Plants continued producing oxygen. The oceans recovered. Earth's natural cycles stabilized the atmosphere. For hundreds of millions of years, life and the planet worked together, creating the air every breath depends on. It's easy to forget that every single breath you take exists because billions of tiny organisms changed this planet. Long before humans ever arrived, every breath you take today is part of a story, billions of years old, a story of tiny microbes, ancient oceans, planetary disasters, and a world that almost became impossible to live on. The atmosphere around you feels ordinary, but it's one of the rarest things. In the known universe, without it, cities wouldn't exist. Animals wouldn't exist. You wouldn't exist. Sometimes, the greatest threat isn't something that suddenly appears. It's something that slowly disappears. And the only reason you're alive today is because Earth never stopped breathing.